Imagine this. You're 95 years old. Most people your age are relaxing, watching TV, maybe playing cards with the grandkids. But this man? He's sitting on a $150 billion fortune, just handed over one of the most powerful companies in the world, and is still considered the greatest investor who ever lived. Who is this man? And how on earth did a kid from Omaha, Nebraska, who sold chewing gum door to door at age 6, end up becoming a legend? Today, we're telling the full story of Warren Buffett, the Oracle of Omaha. The 95-year-old billionaire the entire world is still watching. Warren Edward Buffett was born on August 30, 1930, in Omaha, Nebraska, right in the heart of the Great Depression. His father, Howard Buffett, was a stockbroker and later a U.S. congressman. From the very beginning, little Warren was different. Friends and teachers described him as a mathematical prodigy, someone who could add massive columns of numbers in his head, just for fun. While other kids were out playing, Warren was fascinated by numbers and business. At age 6, he bought a 6-pack of Coca-Cola for 25 cents and sold each bottle for 5 cents, pocketing a small profit. Many people laugh at this story, but think about it. At 6 years old, this boy already understood buying low and selling high. At 11, he made his first stock purchase, 3 shares of City's Service Preferred at $38 per share. He was in middle school. By the time he was a teenager, Warren was delivering newspapers in Washington, D.C., not to survive, but to invest. He saved enough to buy a 40-acre farm in Nebraska. He filed his first tax return at age 13, claiming his bicycle as a business deduction. This wasn't a lucky kid. This was a machine, wired for wealth from the very beginning. Warren enrolled at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School at age 17. He later transferred and graduated from the University of Nebraska with a business degree. But here's the moment that changed everything. He applied to Harvard Business School, and got rejected. That rejection sent him to Columbia University, where he would study under a man named Benjamin Graham, the father of value investing. Graham's approach was simple but powerful: find companies that the market has undervalued and buy them. Don't chase trends. Don't panic. Think long-term. Warren didn't just learn this, he lived it. Graham later gave Buffett the only A+ he had ever awarded a student. Buffett once said that Graham's 1949 book, The Intelligent Investor, changed my life. It gave me a philosophy, a bedrock philosophy on investing that made sense. After graduating, Buffett went to work for Graham's firm in New York. But his heart was always in Omaha. In 1956, at just 25 years old, he returned home and launched Buffett Partnership Limited, pooling money from family and friends. Within a few years, he turned that small fund into millions. In 1962, Warren Buffett made a decision that would define his entire legacy. He started buying shares in a struggling textile company in New Bedford, Massachusetts called Berkshire Hathaway. Now here's the irony. Buffett himself later called this purchase one of his worst decisions. The textile business was dying. But instead of walking away, he did something genius. He used Berkshire's extra cash to invest in other businesses: insurance, media, banking, consumer brands. By 1965, he had taken majority control of Berkshire Hathaway. By 1970, he named himself chairman of the board. And then the acquisitions began. He bought Geico, the insurance company. He invested heavily in the Washington Post. He purchased See's Candies. He acquired Dairy Queen, Duracell, Fruit of the Loom, and over 60 other companies over the decades. His strategy was always the same: buy wonderful companies at fair prices. And hold them forever. He famously said, "Our favorite holding period is forever." While Wall Street chased quarterly profits, Buffett played a different game: the long game. By the late 1980s, Berkshire Hathaway stock, which started at around $20 per share in the 1960s, had risen to the thousands. By 2016, over $217,000 per share. That's not a typo. $217,000. per share. From the 1960s to 2025, major U.S. stock markets grew roughly 11% per year. Berkshire Hathaway? Around 28% per year. Warren Buffett didn't just beat the market. He lapped it. Here's what makes Warren Buffett truly fascinating: the lifestyle. This man is worth $150 billion. And yet, he still lives in the same house in Omaha he bought in 1958 for $31,500. He drinks multiple Coca-Colas every day. His favorite meal? McDonald's. He literally picks his breakfast based on how the stock market opens that morning. If it's down, he orders the cheaper items. His annual salary at Berkshire Hathaway was just $100,000 for roughly 40 years. That's less than most mid-level managers at big companies. He drives himself to work. He doesn't own a yacht. He skips the lavish parties. He doesn't have a personal social media account. While other billionaires chase fame, Buffett chases value. And his personal life has its own interesting chapters. He married Susan Thompson in 1952, and they had 3 children. The couple eventually separated in the 1970s, though they remained married. Susan moved to San Francisco to pursue a singing career. She passed away in 2004. In 2006, on his 76th birthday, Warren married Astrid Minks, a woman Susan herself had introduced him to. Despite everything, the billions, the fame, the influence, Buffett remained who he always was, a kid from Omaha who just really loves investing. In 2006, Warren Buffett made an announcement that shocked the financial world. He pledged to donate more than 80% of his wealth to charity. Later, in 2020, he raised that commitment to 99%. The largest beneficiary? The Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. In 2010, alongside Bill Gates, he launched the Giving Pledge, asking fellow billionaires to commit to donating the majority of their fortunes. Hundreds of the world's wealthiest people have since signed. Between 2006 and the present, Buffett has given away well over $50 billion, making him one of the greatest philanthropists in human history. He also supports foundations run by each of his 3 children, and has funded college scholarship programs through the Susan Thompson Buffett Foundation. A man with $150 billion, who has chosen to give most of it away. That's not just financial genius. That's character. In May 2025, at Berkshire Hathaway's annual investor conference, Warren Buffett stood before thousands of shareholders and made a historic announcement. It was time to step down. He requested that the board appoint Greg Abel, Berkshire's vice chairman, as the new CEO. On January 1, 2026, Abel officially took over, ending Buffett's 6-decade tenure as the chief executive of one of the world's largest companies. Warren Buffett retired at 95. And even in retirement, he's not gone. He remains chairman of the board, still involved, still watching, still learning. Because that's who Warren Buffett is. He doesn't quit. He evolves. His net worth? Still $150 billion, according to the Bloomberg Billionaires Index, placing him among only 17 people in history to surpass $100 billion. And his Social Security check? Thanks to decades of qualifying earnings, he's eligible for the maximum payout, about $5,181 a month. A man worth $150 billion, collecting Social Security like the rest of us. Only Warren Buffett. So, who is the 95-year-old billionaire? He's a boy who sold candy at 6. A teenager who bought farmland. A student who got rejected by Harvard. A man who turned a failing textile company into a $900 billion empire. A billionaire who lives in the same house he bought 65 years ago. And one of the most generous human beings who has ever walked this earth. Warren Buffett isn't just a billionaire. He's a lesson. A lesson in patience. In discipline. In values, both financial and personal. And if there's one thing you take away from this video, let it be this: wealth isn't built overnight. It's built one right decision at a time, over decades. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button and subscribe, Because we have more incredible stories of the world's most powerful people coming your way. Drop a comment below. What's your favorite Warren Buffett quote or lesson? See you in the next one. Victory Hand.